What is going on, guys? Welcome back to our Flame Racing Reviews. It's been a minute since I last talked to you guys. Sorry about that, but today we're going to be talking about who I think gets the last IndyCar seat. The last IndyCar seat available, as you guys know, there's 27 seats in the NTT IndyCar Series, and 26 of the 27 seats have been filled, and the seat that has not been filled yet is the second seat at Dale Coyne, which is the number 19. Now, I could have told you at the start of the offseason that Dale Coyne would have the last remaining IndyCar seat. But something was kind of weird this year about Dale Coyne and how he approached the offseason. He said, hey, we got funding for both seats. We're going to make big moves in this offseason. We're going to have both our drivers announced by Halloween. And honestly, I kind of believed him when he was starting to say all this. And I was like, you know what, Dale? I think you might be onto something. I think you might be right. I think you might have both your seats announced by Halloween. And I believe it was in September he announced his first seat, and that was Indy Next champ Dennis Hauger. Now, Dennis Hauger comes from a European background. He's an F3 champ, won some races in F2, really got to succeed in F2, never had the machinery. Probably could have been a Formula 1 driver if F2 would have gone his way. But he comes over after 3 bad years of F2, I believe. I think it was 3. Might have been 2. I don't really know. And then in 2025, he comes over here and does Indy Next with Andretti and absolutely dominates the championship. Probably one of the more dominant seasons we've had in a while. I would say it was probably more dominant than Linus Lundqvist's pretty dominant campaign in 2022, or maybe Kirkwood's, and I think Kirkwood dominated it in like 2021. I mean, it was a pretty dominant year from Dennis Hauger, and then he wins the championship, obviously, and it leads to him. You know, where's he gonna go? Could he replace Marcus Ericsson at Andretti? Probably not. You know, where's he going to go? And then it's announced that he's going to Dale Coyne, as Andretti and Dale Coyne have a partnership, just like the AJ Foyt and Penske partnership, just like the Meyer-Shank and Ganassi partnership. Dale Coyne now has a partnership with Andretti, which I think is huge for them. And that means Dennis Hauger is basically, I think you can see this as like a Red Bull and V-Carb situation, kind of. He's just kind of sitting in this team. He's going to probably crash a bunch of cars, kind of how Kyle Kirkwood did when he was at Foyt in 2022. He's probably going to crash just a crap ton of cars, and then Andretti is going to say, come on, come with us. You can replace Marcus Ericsson, and we're going to win you some races. I kind of see how that's going. I don't see Dennis Hauger being at Dale Coyne longer than a year. I already see the headline, Dennis Hauger to Andretti, or maybe it'll be called TWG by then in 2027. I already see it. We'll just have to see. And now, before I tell you who I think the candidates are going to be, I have to tell you about today's sponsor. And the sponsor for today is Keepsakers. Keepsakers makes the most wonderful and unique IndyCar t-shirts. These t-shirts are so cool. I'm wearing probably their most iconic one. I just love these IndyCar t-shirts. They're the most unique and cool t-shirts. You got to check them out. You can buy them at any IndyCar race weekend, but obviously we're in the off-season. So how do you get them in the off-season? You just go to keepsakers.com and you can shop online. It's a must. You got to check them out. And now, let's get back into the video. So, Dale, in my personal opinion, I think it's getting a little embarrassing. The fact that you have not announced your second seat. I mean, you cannot say in Nashville in August that I'm going to have my drivers announced by Halloween, and it's now December. We're like 6 days away from Christmas right now, and you've yet to announce your second seat. And you announced Hauger back in September. Like, we've gone on too long. It's been way too long since you've announced your seat. It's getting to the point where teams are starting to announce their one-off Indy 500 seat before you announce your full-time seat. Like, it's time to announce the seat, Dale. And obviously, there's 3 names that keep coming up, and it's going to be one of these 3 drivers. I'm pretty confident in it. And if it's not one of these 3 drivers, I'll be shocked. But Dale Coyne could literally sign anyone. Like, it could literally be anyone. Like, just whoever, it could literally be anyone. Whoever you want it to be, it could be. Like, seriously, Dale Coyne is that crazy with his drivers. Both seats are supposedly funded. He doesn't need money, so it could literally be anyone. The 3 names we keep on hearing are the 3 people you saw in the thumbnail. Romain Grosjean. That's who we thought it was going to be in August. We were so confident it was going to be Romain and Hauger, but there's supposedly still beef between Andretti and Grosjean, so maybe that's why. And then you have Connor Daly. Connor Daly has sponsorship for about half the year, but he doesn't have sponsorship for the full year. But if Dale Coyne doesn't need sponsorship, then does Daly, I mean, does it even matter if Daly has sponsorship or not? And then, last but not least, is Linus Lundqvist. He's the name that keeps coming up and is a sneaky name that keeps on coming up. Linus Lundqvist, I don't think really has any sponsorship, but once again, if the seat is fully funded, it doesn't really matter if Linus has sponsorship or not, right? That's at least what I would think. But who knows? Maybe Todd is only going to fund one car. I don't really know at this point, because if he could fund 2 full cars, you would think he'd have his seat announced by now. And it's no secret that Todd wants Romain Grosjean in the car. He's publicly said he wants Romain Grosjean, and the fact that he has not announced Romain Grosjean by now is kind of crazy to me. Well, we'll come back to that point. Obviously, I said in a video, I think 2 weeks ago, I said I thought Yuki Tsunoda would come over to Dale Coyne. That's not going to happen. Yuki Tsunoda is going to be a test and reserve driver for Red Bull in 2026. He's not coming over to IndyCar yet. I could see him coming over in 2027, but at least for now, Yuki Tsunoda is going to stay in the depths of Red Bull as a test and reserve driver, and you'll see him when Hadjar has a crash, they're going to cut to Tsunoda. That's what Yuki's going to do in 2026. He's not coming over to IndyCar. It's pretty sad. So now I'm going to talk about Grosjean. I'm going to talk about Daly. I'm going to talk about Lundqvist. I'm going to say why it'd be good if they come to Coyne at the end of this video. I'm going to say who I think it's going to be. And we're going to start with Romain Grosjean. So Romain Grosjean is an ex-Formula 1 driver. He had some successes in F1s, never got a win, got a few podiums. His best years were probably the years he was with Lotus. Obviously, he had some craziness going on with some crashes and whatnot in F1, ended in that horrible crash in Bahrain, and now in 2021 he came over to IndyCar with Dale Coyne driving the number 51, and that 2021 season was probably his best season in IndyCar, where he found a lot of successes and took a pole position at the Indy GP, which was pretty cool, and he turned that into a second place. Then in 2022 he made the move to Andretti, which everyone thought that was going to be a move for him to win the championship, but it just never materialized for him to win a championship. And honestly, those 2 years at Andretti in 2022 and 2023 were kind of disastrous, and they ended horribly, and ended with him having a huge fallout with his teammates, with his team owner, with his sponsors, and it led to him going to Humco's Holland Racing in 2024, where he was just pretty mid, and it led to that season. Then Humco's did not retain him, and in 2025 he was a free agent. He did some IMSA stuff last year. He has an IMSA contract this year. We'll have to see. Will Grosjean get back on the grid? I think if Grosjean gets back on the grid, do I think it's going to go any better than it did the first time? Honestly, I do not. I think if he's here, it's to help Hauger, but I don't know if Romain Grosjean is the type of driver you bring in to help a young guy. That's just my personal opinion. Is Grosjean mature enough? Is he wise enough to help a young driver? My personal opinion is honestly no. I don't know if Grosjean's your guy to help a young driver succeed. That's just my personal opinion. I personally do not want it to be Romain Grosjean. I could see it being Romain Grosjean. I'll be disappointed if we go all this time waiting just for them to announce Romain Grosjean. We'll just have to see. But the Grosjean one's interesting. I don't really think it should be, but we'll just have to see. And now our second candidate, Connor Daly. Obviously, Connor Daly is an oval masteress, and Connor Daly is from Noblesville, Indiana, and has had a really rough career in IndyCar, bouncing from full-time to one-off Indy 500 to part-time. He can really never land on his feet. His longest stint in IndyCar is with Ed Carpenter. He raced a couple of seasons full-time with them before getting dropped halfway in 2023, which has really kind of derailed his career, but then Humco's Hollinger picked him back up for the last 4 or 5 races for 2024. Saw him get that podium in Milwaukee. Did a full season this year with Humco's. Honestly, in my personal opinion, was dropped for no reason. He was bringing good money for sponsorships. He killed Stingray Robb and just absolutely crushed it in the Indy 500, and has proved himself to be such a great oval driver. And we know Dale Coyne has sucked on the ovals. The past 2 years, one of their cars has been bumped from the Indy 500. 2024, Nolan Siegel. 2025, Jacob Abel. Those are 2 rookies, 2 inexperienced guys in a horrible car getting bumped from the Indy 500. That sucked. Watching it, I was there both days. That was really tough to see for those 2 young guys, and that means, and this year, Rinus VeeKay was 33rd, his second car, and then 2024, Catherine Legg was 31st. So they sucked on the ovals. And if you're Connor Daly, you can bring so much to that team with the ovals, and I think Dale Coyne maybe sees that. And if Todd is funding the full season for both cars, plus Daly sponsorships, I think Daly is almost a shoo-in for the Dale Coyne seat, and I don't see why they don't go ahead and announce Connor Daly, in my personal opinion. And then, last but not least, we have Linus Lundqvist, who is an absolute beast, who dominated the 2022 Indy Next Championship, who filled in for Simon Pagenaud in 2023 for 3 races and did such a great job. I will never forget his Nashville debut. And then in 2024, getting the call up to Chip Ganassi Racing for the full season. But unfortunately, didn't 100% go his way, but he still got 1 pole position and 2 podiums. When was the last time we saw a rookie get 2 podiums and a pole position? I pretty sure it was Colton Herta in 2019, but Colton Herta had like 2 wins, and Colton Herta was a lot better than Linus Lundqvist. But the last time we saw a driver have that kind of success was probably Colton Herta, and Colton Herta is seen as an IndyCar staplety. Like, he is an IndyCar driver, but now of course he's in F2 and going for F1. But before he made that move, that's what he was. He was IndyCar royalty. But it's weird that Linus Lundqvist never got a chance. He showed so much speed and so much success. If they're signing Linus Lundqvist, they're signing a guy who has so much potential, but maybe has not been used right. He's a diamond in the rough. Linus Lundqvist deserves this chance. Linus Lundqvist is an absolute beast, and I would love for Linus Lundqvist to come back because I love interviewing Linus Lundqvist. Honestly, when I started interviewing drivers in 2024, he was my favorite driver to interview because I honestly, he felt like talking to a friend. It felt so unique, and I would love for Linus Lundqvist to come back because I think he's got so much to prove. I'm torn between Lundqvist and Daly because I want Linus, but Daly I think can help them the most. But at the same time, I feel like they might go Grosjean. So who do I think will get the second seat? That's what you guys have been waiting for this whole video. And I personally think it's going to go to Grosjean. But I don't want it to go to Grosjean. I would rather it go to Lundqvist or Daly just for the fun of it. But I feel like it's going to go to Grosjean. We'll just have to see. But say your prayers, cross your fingers, let's hope it's Linus or Daly, and we can all be happy heading into 2026. So with that being said, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. And Dale, you're probably not going to announce it till after Christmas because it's 6 days away from Christmas. Announce it before New Year's. Or it's going to look really embarrassing. And you're not just going to have me as an IndyCar influencer talking bad about you. You're going to have all the other ones, David Land, etc., just talking bad about how you've now gone 2 months overboard. And said when you said you would announce it. So that being said, thanks for watching, and see ya.